8:33 and a half here on Manx Radio TT. It's Journalist Day and it's Race Day 1 here at the Isle of Man TT Festival, fueled by Monster Energy. Stephen Davison, Boyde, Stuart Barker in the chair for the chat show for the next 20 or so minutes. Also have the Met Office in about 10 or 12 minutes. The Skerries 100 road race this year is Saturday the 7th and Sunday the 8th of July. Okay, they've changed the dates because it used to be Friday, Saturday, but now they've moved it to Saturday and Sunday. Thanks very much. Loch Shinny Motorcycle Supporters Club. It's all the details is there on their Facebook page. Christy.
Speaking of Facebook, we are live on Manx Radio TT Facebook. Getting some fantastic comments here. Don says, what better way to spend my retirement? Listening to the crack with yous. MotoGP has a long way to go to match this. Wishing everyone a safe week's racing. All the best from Don in Stockport. Also, best of luck to all the races from Ken today, especially the Irish lads. Come on, Mickey D. It would be great to see you on the top step from Ken and Reva in Ballascary. Right, I've got one more quick question for Stephen here before we move on. But Stephen, we were talking about your photography and going out and getting these amazing shots. You must have found yourself in some pretty precarious positions over the years taking photos of motorsport.
Oh yeah. It's when the rider tells you, I wouldn't sit in there. You kind of wonder about that. But now there's a lot more restrictions than there used to be, so you're pretty much curtailed where you can go now. It's more precarious maybe where you perch yourself sometimes, because trying to get a different angle if you're up a tree or on top of a cliff or something like that.
Boyde, just going to talk to you now about, obviously you've been helping us this week with all the practice reports and things like that, but your background is four wheels, it's rallying, and obviously you're watching Michael Dunlop's progress with his rally team that he's got, but tell us a bit about your rallying history.
Oh my God, my rallying history, there we go. Started sort of been following it since I grew up, but I've been following the TT since I grew up as well. Lived on Logie Crippedy above Union Mills for the first 27 years of my life, which meant 5 o'clock in the morning being woken up by these rowdy things doing practices. I was speaking to somebody yesterday, actually fairly young, who couldn't even comprehend the fact that they used to go out and practice at sort of 5:15 in the morning.
I love morning practice. Really did. Used to love it. Yeah. It was ace.
Absolutely. We used to take, when we were kids, we used to take books and games and all sorts to bed with us because we knew we'd be awake at silly o'clock, and our parents wouldn't let us run down to go and watch practices at that time in the morning. That would be silly. And then as we grew up, we got into rallying a little bit, sort of the 90s, really, late 80s, 90s.
Co-driving, of course.
Yeah, absolutely. Shouting left, right, and sorry.
Yeah.
And
left, right, and sorry. Just for you, the other two guys around the test, Stuart and Stephen, Chris does all our rally reports for Manx Radio for when we do the sport, and he was doing it on a rally once. And what he did was he did a whole rally stage. I can't remember the rally stage. Was it over Peel somewhere?
It was Starvey.
The Starvey, which is over the West Hill, with his mobile phone on his lap. Okay, picking up all the data, left over 20 into this, the whole rally stage on it, and we broadcast a lot. This was live on the stage, and he just picked up the phone. He went, "How was that?" And it was incredible. Just the speed, and I couldn't do it because when I'm in a car or whatever and it's moving, I can't look at something because it makes me want to be sick. To be honest with you, I couldn't do it. So how he does it, I just do not know. And then how did he get into obviously this side of the thing from going from that?
Yeah, that was a bit of a broadcasting first, actually. Global broadcasting first. I couldn't think that had been done anywhere else. And I told you this will get really boring after about 20 or 30 seconds, so just take a little bit of it and then cut to a track. And then you told me at the end you'd stuck with it for about 8 minutes worth.
It was absolutely fantastic. It was it's very good. But if you shut your eyes, you can actually picture it because we know where the people on the isle will know where the stage was. It was good. Kind of when you see the guys here doing like the laps of the circuit and stuff like that when they're sitting in the studio. So yeah, good. So the rally is good. But done with all that now, are you?
No, well, I'm done with the competing unless I lose a load of timber in Michael Dunlop's parlance. I must do it. We'll see where we go. We've done one or two in recent years, but not much. More on the reporting side these days and being an official with Rally Isle of Man, our big event here that's around the British Championship and stuff. But on the TT side, in the early 2000s, we sort of drifted into doing bits and pieces of radio on another station over here, and that involved being in the press office. And 2003 was the first year we were in there. And I can remember at the end of the senior race doing an interview with David Jeffries they used to have a little radio shack in the press centre, and myself and David Jeffries went in there. We had to move John Brown out because he used to like it to use it as his private office. So we asked John if he could leave for a minute, got David in. He had done the double that year, the Formula One and the senior double, which earned him a nice cash bonus. And my most favourite memory of it is we did a fantastic interview, but then at the end, being David, he was quite a big chap, as he got up he practically fell over the chair went flying backwards, David went flying backwards, all this clatter on air, and then yes. I thought I don't want to injure him after he's just done a TT double, good grief, big bike double, but fantastic. And then from there, really, we've done reporting in the press office and started to get more and more involved in the TT stuff. And Manx Radio kindly asked, 3-4 years ago, would I come on board?
And Stuart, you've been in motorbike journalism for years. Why did you choose to specialise mostly in that? I know you do other things as well, but what was it that really took you into motorbikes?
My dad taking me to see Silver Dream racing at the cinema in 1980.
Silver Dream Machine.
Yeah. And then I banged on about take me to a race, and because we were from Stranraer, the Ulster Grand Prix was the kind of closest to us. So I grew up, it was far closer to go to Irish road racing than it was to English short circuits, probably, which is why I'm still not biased, but prefer road racing, really. So, and after that, once you've seen that, and it was pissing down my range. I enjoyed a lot wins from Mick Grant and Rob McElnay and Roger Marshall, and it was so wet. It's when they filmed V4 Victory. It's the race that's in V4 Victory. You can actually see me and my dad walking down the hill in our waterproof.
I bet you've paused it just to.
It was Betamax. So pausing Betamax, there was no point. But we wore it out watching it, and I watched it again the other week. And it's just that was the era for me with your proper factory support, and the TT Formula 1 World Championship was just fabulous. Early morning practices.
I love it.
I'm glad I never had to work those though.
Yeah. Well, I did a few actually with Charlie Williams. I think the first year, maybe 2 years of the early morning practices. For those kids who were listening, a Betamax is a video recorder player, and it moved later on to VHS. Yeah, we were talking about because my daughter's little one's only 8, and I got a record player because the thing that everyone likes records again and vinyl. And she went, "What's that?" And I had to explain what it was for. When you play music through it, how? So I had to explain. So I got a record put on. She went, "Well, how does that work?" So I explained and blah blah blah. She's like, "Oh right, okay."
Can you
how
explain
old is
to
it?
me? Because I still don't understand.
I know
how
exactly.
A
No, I was going to say you do well to explain that.
So yeah, it was quite incredible with technology. You think about that Betamax VHS. When Stephen was talking about it before with the camera, it's like when you went on holiday, wasn't it? You had to wait a month for your shots to come back from holiday. Now you just pick it from bip, 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 and these phones nowadays are just incredible. But the kit you've got, Stephen, to take all your photographs. Could you put a price on it? And you must have it insured for quite a bit because you must carry about 4 or 5 cameras at one point.
Well, it weighs a lot. I don't know how much it costs, I can tell you that. But in a way, in some ways it's simpler because you can see straight away whether or not you've got it right or got it wrong. But you have to cart around a laptop now. You have to be able to send immediately from where you are. Like I was out last night at Sulby, and as soon as the first lap's over, practice, you're sending the pictures.
How different it's gone from years when you'd have to come back here, then you'd have to download them or whatever it is, or you'd have to send them. Now it's just instantaneous, isn't it? Because
a light aircraft on standby to take the pics to MCN.
A light aircraft.
A light aircraft to get the pictures to MCN so it could come out on the Wednesday.
No way.
How things have changed for the journalists first off, because now you said tap 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 tap. It's the right copy because where we work at Manx Radio, we have Terry Kringle who works there, and Terry's Terry's been around Manx Radio for years and years and years, and it was really nice because you always knew when Terry was in because you have your headphones on, you're doing the job, and you just say tap tap tap. Ding, tap 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 tap, ding. That is great. I love old technology. Old technology is great, but like we said, the people out there now have all got their smartphones. You can go and buy a decent camera if you've got enough money. And some of the shots I've seen from amateur photographers out there as well. And there's a lovely piece in the Ireland, I think it's in the Ireland Racer maybe, or one of the magazines that you've done, Stephen, that's just, just some advice on how to take a shot. So if people are out there today want to take photographs, first of all, stand in a sensible place, otherwise the marshals will move you on. There are lots of bits. But what are you going to look for in a shot if somebody's looking for something just a bit different? Don't give all your secrets away, but
Well, the thing I've always looked at with road racing is make it look like a road race. There's millions and millions of photographs out there of motorbikes, but we're on the Isle of Man. It's a beautiful place. Set the motorbike in that landscape, set it in that context, and try and show something about what they're doing as well. It's it is a very extreme sport. There's a lot of the time the wheels are in the air and stuff like that. Everybody wants to go to those places as well, but I think it's part of it for me that drew me into road racing was that I was always a country boy, and I wanted to photograph the bikes racing where we came from and that kind of landscape. So, but there are, as you say, everyone has a camera now or a phone or whatever. I remember in 2009 when John McGuinness's chain broke in the senior.
Yeah, mate, Ramsey.
I knew what it was up against then because there's 2 different people from 2 different angles that I've seen got the chain actually coming off the bike. So everything gets documented.
Yeah, it does, doesn't it? There's nothing now that people don't get, because everybody virtually around the circuit today will have a camera at some point. Chris Boyde, going to look at you. We're obviously going to look at the sidecar qualifying in a little bit as well. You've seen the TT change quite a lot. Obviously, put a journalist head on.
Yeah, a lot. When I first started, we didn't have any of the live timing. During a practice session, it was just about trying to get stories out of riders, because you didn't have any of the times until after the session had finished and they'd been signed off by the clerk of the course, and they'd come down into the press office. And so you didn't have any real idea, and you'd go in and you collect the times, and everybody would be studying them like mad, and that'd be half an hour after the session had finished.
We used to have to carry a laptop round, a full-size laptop round. It was so heavy then compared to the ones you get now. Now we can do it on a small tablet. It's just quite incredible. Again, how technology moves on.
Absolutely, and because of that, I remember that in one of the early years, I can't remember, it must have been 03, I think, we were carrying, I happened to be running a stopwatch on a David Jeffries lap at practice, and it just so happened it was the lap where he went sub 18.
Blimey.
And that time was amazing, and I ran up to Dave Moore, I think it was, who was doing your role in the pits at that point, and I said, we think David Jeffries has just gone sub 18. David ran over to the team, and they'd been running a watch, and it was all confirmed, and loads of euphoria and stuff, but it was just pure luck that we'd picked that lap and David Jeffries as the rider for that lap to run a watch on.
Well, Tim O'Hanlon still has as backup on his. He always carries his stopwatch as backup in the pit lane, and we do as well with Max Radio TT. We obviously have the live timing thing from the officials, but we also, as a backup, have the stopwatches running, don't we? Because you've done Ramsey hairpin.
Absolutely, and Pat O'Hanlon's the same out there on Bruce Anstey's 125 lap last year in the classic TT. Pat was running a stopwatch, and he was within a tenth of a second of Bruce's lap time. It was absolutely incredible. These boys have got some skill, I tell you.
Need to take a nap break. Just coming up to 8:45, and we're going to hear that very, very important Met weather check. We're here with the journalists this morning, Stephen Davison, Chris Boyde and Stuart Barker. Back in a moment.